Okay, so we're recording now.
Hey guys,
so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Welcome to tonight's call. Before we get started, I want to take a moment for any recognitions that you guys would have if you'd like to recognize someone. I know Sonia and Karen did an amazing party yesterday, so I'm sure they had a good turnout, and we're so proud of them for taking steps because they taught those classes on their own. Neither of us were there. Tashina, you were not there, right?
No, I was not, and I have.
Oh, did we lose her? She muted herself.
We can't hear you, Tashina. You muted yourself.
I got her.
So yeah, they definitely are doing exactly what they need to do to move forward, doing the follow-up, because the fortune is in the follow-up, and she said she was really positive about everything that happened, and they're looking forward to coming to upcoming training and having their next class in January.
Oh, very good. See? So it's good when you have leaders in your team who start to take their business into their hands, so we're very proud of them. So very good. Let's talk about tonight's topic is going to actually be entitled, Would You Hire Yourself? Oh yeah, let me go ahead and do that. Tashina, I'm going to put you back on mute just for a little bit. But before we get into talking about the topic, remember we're trying to incorporate every call that we recommend an oil, and we oil up before to associate an oil with whatever we're trying to accomplish. So this week's call in dealing with Would You Hire Yourself deals a lot with being motivated and determined to accomplish what you set out to do. So tonight's oil is cypress. If you have, I know Monica had motivation. You can put on motivation as well. Anything that's going to help with determination. Oh, I thought I muted that one. Okay. So give everyone a second to oil up. And Tashina, for some reason, this is not allowing me to mute you. Can you mute yourself for me? Tashina is driving, and so we're trying not to, we want her to arrive at her destination safely, but that's some determination there because she's still on the call. Okay, so let's get started with tonight's topic of Would You Hire Yourself? I have a couple notes, but the interesting thing about this business is sometimes we're looking for to draw certain types of individuals to be on our team, or we want to work with maybe individuals that are going to take off like a rocket, but maybe sometimes we haven't developed the skill set or developed good habits as a leader to be able to attract that kind of individual. So a good question to ask yourself is the title, Would You Hire Yourself? So we're going to delve into a little bit of the mindset of being in this business and treating yourself and your brand like a marketable business. Okay. So I actually took an article that I read in Forbes magazine that had to deal a lot with marketing yourself to get hired by a company, but it also actually applies very much to what we're talking about tonight. So three main questions that that the article starts out and talking about is, the first one is, if you were a company that was looking to hire in your field, are you sure that you're the best candidate? So like when I think about that question, I think that's a very good question because, you know, you think of like the job market is highly competitive, right? And even though Young Living is the best essential oil company out there, Young Living is not the only way that people can get their essential oils, right? But we bring something different to the table. You bring something different to the table as an individual within this company, because not only are you bringing hands down the best oils in the company or in the world, but you're also bringing the education. I feel like that's part of what sets people who do Young Living apart from any other company, is the fact that we're very based on educating people. Like that's more so the focus than just selling oils. And so I think that question is very important to ask ourselves, am I the best candidate? If someone is looking to get involved in wellness and to improve their health, wealth, and abundance, am I the best person to show them that? And if it's okay if you're saying no at this moment, if you're saying no, what can you do to develop those skills so that you do become the best candidate, to become the best leader, the best person that can help them on that journey? So I thought that was an interesting question. The other question that was there is, if you were a manager that was deciding on bonuses and promotions, would you select yourself? So I think that's very interesting because network marketing is very different than your 9-to-5 job market, right? On your 9-to-5, you go to work 8, 10, 12 hours, and you know that you're going to receive a paycheck just for clocking in and clocking out. As long as you were there those 8 to 10 hours, then you're going to get a check. You're going to get paid. But I think that question about being the manager and deciding on who gets bonuses based off of their performance, especially when you're asking it of yourself, is very important because network marketing is a fair market. So you don't get paid for your hours that you do the business. You get paid for production, right? That's how you get your bonuses and commissions, is by fulfilling certain criteria. So when you look at some of the things that you've been doing in your business over the past, let's say, a couple months or even years, a good question to ask is, based off of my actions and what I have been doing, do I deserve the bonus checks that I want?
And if I could just kind of add to that, because I do think that's so important. Now we're talking bonuses and promotions. So when you sit down and say, I'm going to spend an hour this day to work on Young Living business. Now, if you were your employer and you were looking over your shoulder, would you actually say, you know what, you go above and beyond when you commit yourself to that time? Or are we, scrolling on Facebook and chatting with people and doing things that are not income producing? We want to make sure that, again, if you were the boss, would you agree with the time that you have spent genuinely on building your business?
Yeah. Would you pay yourself that bonus? I mean, based off of your performance. So a very good question to ask yourself and to see where we can make adjustments. And Dana and I ask ourselves these questions too. I'm not just pointing the finger at you guys. But also the third question that was very interesting is, if you were a customer in need of the product or service that you provide, would you buy from yourself? And so I think that one's actually a very good question as well, because sometimes we get in like hunt mode and we just want to bring in new people because we know we have the best products out there. We know we have the best oils, and everyone needs to use oils. But I think sometimes we get in the mode of, I just need to sign somebody up. I need to sign somebody up. I need to sign somebody up. That sometimes we don't think about as a person, as a customer, or someone that is being brought in or educated, or just being educated about essential oils. Would I be drawn to you? Would you be the person that I would seek this journey with? And so I feel like that's a very important question to ask, because essential oils is not common knowledge, right? How do you project and portray yourself to draw the type of individuals that want to be educated? Because we don't necessarily want the person that just is going to buy one oil, use it, and that's it. We want to help and assist people on a wellness journey. And so when I look at myself, I ask, am I leading an oily lifestyle? Am I practicing what I preach, so to speak? Do people, like, I think that Dana and I are now synonymous with oils. Even at the meeting that I went to today, everyone asked, they said, I smell oils on you. Because I use them too. That's not just Dana that uses it. I use my oils and supplements too. I had like 10 to 12 supplements I took. So if I were a customer looking for that, is it apparent that that's what you do?
And I was going to say too, on the flip side, where you had mentioned hunting people, sometimes too, I think we can be too timid where we don't speak up. And like, we see someone that's like, oh, I'm so sick and nothing's worked and I've used this and I've used that. And you're like, feel better soon.
Yeah. But we don't give them.
Right? Like, wait, you have a solution. What do you mean feel better soon? Like, reach out, show you care for people, reach out to people. Like, and maybe they're open and maybe they're not, but at least let them know that there's an option. Like, we want to be somebody that would be drawn by our personality and who we are.
Yeah, very good. So those are the 3 questions to think about as we dive a little bit into this topic. Dana's going to talk about, even if you've answered yes or no to these questions, let's look at what we can do to improve, right? So you're going to talk about what you can contribute.
Okay, so just briefly, what you can contribute. First and foremost, get to know the company you work for. And I'm going to stop there because we represent Young Living, but we don't work for Young Living. We are our brand and we are our company. So it's so important to know who you are. Who's your identity? Who are you portraying to other people? You want to make sure you know that very well. And in every post that you do, and when you speak, that you're relaying who you are, who your company is, representing you and your brand. The other thing is know your prospects that you want to help. You need to know them. You need to know what they're looking for. You need to know what their needs are, how you can feel like that. Talk to them in their language about their problems and about your solutions. So that's another key thing too, because sometimes we get really passionate and we're like, oh my goodness, I know that this is going to help you. This is exactly what you need. But then we don't speak to them in their language. And so we don't meet them where they are, and then they can't hear us. And that would be a sad place to be when it's like, you know, you have something for them, but unfortunately you may beat them over the head with it, and now they're like standoffish and they don't want anything to do with it. So we want to be able to speak their language. Or sometimes it'll be a situation where, you know, maybe they have something going on in their systems, but they're not looking for one cut solution, and it might be a multiple of things that you need to bring to their attention to help get them to, hey, you need oils too.
Right. And so it's very important to be aware of that when you're looking for individuals. But I guess that kind of segues back to the next point that we're going to talk about is how will people know about you? So I think of in the job market, if you were looking for a job, what would you do? You would go out and you would create your resume, you would fill out online applications, you would work through your network of individuals that you know and ask them, hey, do you know someone who's hiring? You would do all of those things because you want to get your name out there. Network marketing is a little bit different because there is no job resumes or anything like that, but it is working off of a network of people. So you have to decide, how am I going to market myself? How am I going to market what I have? Social media is huge, and it is a very effective way to build, but it's not the only way. So I think it's very interesting or very important that you pick out your niche and the way that you're going to market yourself. So if you are a class person and you love the knowledge, do classes, but also realize that not everyone that you meet is going to be a class person. There are people that have grown solely on Facebook and drawn people just to their Facebook page. How does your page look? Does your page, in the way that you market yourself, is it consistent with what you're preaching? You know, so sometimes we might have a post about, I just had, I love this oil, and then the next post that we have might not be synonymous with a healthy lifestyle. But there is a way to flip that because remember, we do want to meet people where they are. Maybe you're not the type of person who's going to eat, you know, vegan food all the time or vegetables. Maybe you do like your burger. So a great way to market that is, hey, I just had my burger that I love, but because I know this is bad for me, I'm still going to take my Digize. That's me, hands down, all day. Like, I still do my Digize. So people have to know what you're about. Pick the way that you're going to market and brand yourself. If you're the type of person that just wants to hand out business cards, you have to have some way to get in front of people and in their mind. And I think that's important. Even when you're working through your personal network, ask them for referrals. If they're not interested in in oils or learning more about them? Do they know somebody who might? That's a great way to be able to grow your brand and get brand recognition as well.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, let's transition back to Dana, because Dana's going to talk about when people are ready, where will they find you?
Mm-hmm. So I think this is very important too. So the best relationships develop over time. And sometimes we get impatient. Sometimes we are like, okay, I've been developing this relationship, or it might even be someone that you actually know, but now you're trying to build a relationship on another level, because now you're looking at them as to, I want to fill their need, and I know that Young Living can feel that need. And so now this is, in a sense, a new relationship that you're trying to build. So in that mindset, we have to make sure that we are building the relationship at the pace that is going to be good for that person. So some people are going to be quicker and some people are going to be a little bit slower. When you meet a decision maker, they may value your contribution. So they might appreciate and actually be able to utilize what you have, but the timing may not be right for them. So you have to keep that in mind. Also, they could be in the middle of trying something different. So again, when we're talking about wellness and we're talking about health, so maybe they are constantly getting sick or whatnot, and you're coming to them and you're like, hey, like, I have a solution, and you're coming to them and you're showing them oils and you're showing them, like, you don't have to be this way or whatnot. But then maybe right now they just started changing their diet. So for them, they're like, I have to see if this is enough. Like, I have to see if doing this, I can yield some of the results that I'm looking for. So sometimes it might not be a matter of what you have doesn't fit, but it might be a matter of they need to go through their cycle of finding something that is not complete, and they still need you there. And I'll say that for me, where I was already using oils before Young Living, I was already making my own laundry detergent before Young Living, I was already only cleaning with vinegar and baking soda. Like, so some of those things and those health aspects, I was like, well, I'm already doing some of these things, so why would I need what you have? But yet I was using oils and I was still sickly. Like, my allergies were horrible. So once I could see, wait, there is something that maybe could fit in there as well, then that makes sense. But if you would have brought it to me premature, I wouldn't have been ready for it. So again, you have to kind of look at the people that you're trying to get to and realize that might be a place that they're at. So this could, but their circumstances and their situation, it could change in a month. It could change over several months, or it might even take years before they are open and they're ready at that point. But the question is, once they're ready, can you please? Once they're ready, will they look to you? Will they come find you? Will you be the one that they're like, oh, that's right, blah, 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 does oils, and I feel like this now fits that need? Will they remember that you were the original person that had brought them to them? So, like, just being honest, like, how many people out there have you made a first contact with somebody about Young Living, but yet they end up signing up on someone else's team? Right? So for some reason, when they were ready, they didn't think about you. And not to say like it's something personal or anything like that, but I mean, I've definitely had people where it was like, oh, they snapped at me, so I'm like, okay, I'll pull back and I'll just let it go or whatnot. And then months later, I'm like, wait, why are you on someone's team? Like, wait a minute, like, you went off on me about when I was trying to, tell you that there was a better way. But for some reason at that time, they weren't ready. So we want to make sure that we are visible to people. We want to make sure that when they're ready, they think of us. They think of us first. You need to stay in front of people, be consistent, and over time. So in order to do this, this might mean that you're sending out regular newsletters, or you're posting regularly on social media. So again, people are keeping you in mind and thinking about you. Also, it might be a matter of contacting your network on a regular basis. so you can stay in front of their minds again. So sometimes there's different ways that people connect. We know that not everybody opens emails, but out of the 100 people, there might be the one person that opens that email. So don't think that it's not helpful or useful to do. Some people, they like getting physical things in the mail, and then there's some people that never check their mailbox. I never check my mailbox. But out of that hundreds of people, there might be one or two that checks the mailbox and they get that particular card or postcard or reminder that you're sending them. There's people that are active on social media, so they're going to see all of your posts and they're going to see when stuff happens. There's some people that aren't on social media at all, so they may never see your posting. So you want to make sure that you're tapping into all different types. You know, there's some people that text, there's some people that answer phone calls, but when they're ready, will they think about you? Are you making sure that you're staying visible in front of them?
Yep, I heard all of that. No, I'm sorry, I had to check on the kids. So all in all, I think it's very important because the article did conclude with saying, if you wanted to work for Google, or you wanted to be a nurse or a firefighter, whatever your profession that you wanted to do, would you not get the proper training and develop the skill set to do so? And so when I think of in this business, who does not want to be Diamond? You know, who does not want to be Royal Crown Diamond? And if that's the case, then look at what you're doing now and what skills you need to develop, and say, okay, how can I get from here to here? Because you can't see what I'm doing down here. How do I get from where I'm at now to Diamond? How do I help as many individuals as possible? How do I stay consistent if those are things that you might be struggling with? Because only by developing those skill set are you going to be able to be successful and say, yes, I would hire myself. So at this point, we're going to open it up on the call. I know that we have a few other leaders on. Does anyone have anything that they'd like to add or any questions? I see fingers pointing at the screen. I think people are trying to unmute themselves. Go ahead, Tashina.
I can't unmute myself now.
Yeah, I unmuted you.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so that sounded like an amazing article. We should post that somewhere. And I think it all goes back to when you think about Eric Worre, when you think about Richard Bliss Brooke being a professional. And I remember the first talk that I heard from Adam Green, he gave a bunch of points about how to be a professional. And his talk was actually treat your business like a job. In reality, until you have 500 plus people on your team, you probably won't get a lot of the benefits that you hear people will get from network marketing. Like, you have to work very hard until you have like 500 plus people on your team. And then you will see the momentum. You will see where you can take 3 months off and you'll still get a check that's bigger every month. Like, some people have seen that prior to the 500 people on their team, but in reality, it probably won't happen that easily for you unless you have what the cash flow quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki refers to as a B-type business. So one of the things I remember from Adam Green is make sure that you work part-time and not sometimes. So going back to the question, would you employ yourself? Do you have set hours? And that's different for everybody. For me, I work Young Living plus 2 other jobs. And so from Monday to Thursday, that's when I work my other jobs usually. I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. I go work to 8 to 10 hours for GM. I go work 3 to 4 hours in my volunteer preaching work. And then occasionally, maybe on a Monday night or a Tuesday night, I may have an hour where I can program postcards or things of that nature. But Friday, when I work from home, I can take my lunch and I can take 3 hours after work and I concentrate on my business. And that literally is in my schedule. Like, I will decide the 5 people I'm going to do care calls with, and that sits in my schedule just like a GM meeting sits in my schedule. It's planned out. And so I know I'm going to work my 8 to 10 hours for Young Living. I set it in my schedule, and I work part-time for Young Living 8 to 10 hours. The contrast would be I work sometime. I work when I feel like it. Oh, I was going to do some care calls, but I'm not really feeling it right now, so I'm just going to do it next week. So be a professional. And again, think of, if someone was looking over your shoulder, if you had a manager you had to respond to, what you're giving, are you clearly working your business as a professional and working it part-time rather than sometime?
That's a very good point. That was a little on the nose that you said that because Dana was leaning over my shoulder. No, but that's a very good point because we are professionals. Even if you're a professional in the making, fake it till you make it, right? So very good that you stay consistent. So set hours and set specific times to work on your business. Very good. Jennifer, Monica, and Kate are on the line as well. Is there anything that you guys would like to add, or if you have any questions? Fake it till you. I like that, Kate. Fake it till you become it. Go ahead, Monica.
This has just been a really good call. I really wish everybody was on this call. I like this one better than any call that I've been on so far because there's really a lot of good things that you guys have brought out. So that's all I'm adding.
No, look, we appreciate that. I'm glad that you're able to chime in. Jennifer's giving a thumbs up as well, so I'm assuming she's enjoying the call as well. But we want to be able to help you guys as much as possible, and so that's why we're opening up the forum. Zoom is telling me that we have a little less than 10 minutes left. So last chance if there's any questions or comments. If not, then we'll go into some event promotions, right? So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. So let's talk promotions and events coming up. If you guys have any classes, whether it be in person or online. I know Shannon's, I keep advertising it as Shannon's event. It is our event.
The rally.
It is. We are co-hosting. This is the Michigan rally. We are all co-hosting.
Yeah. So it's not Shannon's event. It's our event. I have to correct the way that I phrase that. But today is the 24th, so there is still a week left or so for you to hit rank in the month. So any events that you guys have going on now would be the time to shout them out.
Tashina and I are doing a Facebook Live class Tuesday night, 6 Central, 7 Eastern.
Okay.
On Intro to Young Living.
Intro to Young Living. Okay, great. So if you can actually if someone can post a link or an invite to that class, then we can be sure to share it and utilize it as well after the call is over. Any other events, or even if you guys have recognitions you'd like to give for your teams as well, you can do that.
I'll just real quick add, Leah's having an in-person class. I believe it's the Ninja and Sleek at her house Friday evening, the 29th, I believe. I don't remember what time.
Does anyone know the time?
6:30 p.m. at Leah's house. So yeah, I've done promoting that. I have been using the Sleek products. You guys have seen what I have posted. I am one of the people who I definitely do the 80-20 rule. When I'm out of town and on the weekends, I enjoy my food. And everywhere I go, even tonight, I just came from a little home party. People are like, oh my goodness, you're so skinny. What are you doing? So definitely, if you are within 2-3 hours, I would get to Leah's house this Friday. And then she's going to do a recap on Saturday via our Facebook page. And then Dana and Anthony and I on the 2nd, which will start after the 26th pass, we will start planning our class. We're doing a full fitness class, new year, new you class. So it'll go into the weight management line, as well as for those that don't need weight management, the energy and the muscle building stuff, which is what Anthony will focus on because that's his area. So we got a lot of stuff going on when it comes to that as well.
All right, sounds good. I'm looking forward to that. Okay, so very good. Some things to look forward to at the end of the month. We will still have a call next Sunday as well. Guys, continue to grow and perfect your craft. It is so important. You're going to see that you're going to grow in so many areas of your life, not just in Young Living. And so I employ everyone. Oh, that's a nice use of words. I employ and encourage everyone. Just stay consistent and keep growing. You're going to get there. So we'll end the call there. And until next time, everyone take care. And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
Have a good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks, you guys. Good night.
Good night.